All right, guys. So it is good to have family, and family gets your back, and family brings certain things to your attention. So today I want to do a quick spotlight, right, on one of our family members, which is Don Gerard. Okay, Don over here starts asking. This is like a series of things that happen. Okay, first he's asking me about like the G plat wires, right, platinum wires, and I haven't given that much thought or whatever because like as companies come around, it's always going to be like, a gimmick after a gimmick after a gimmick. Okay. Back in the days, there was Baquero wires, and then it turned out basically it was just point 0.8 Canthal and ribbon. You know what I mean? Uh, so Don talks about this, and then he gives us a link on Reddit, and then we start talking about something a little bit more serious. Okay, so what is going on over here? Well, if you click on the link over here, right, then we talk about like the G plat wires, and then it's also about like releasing a gas called Acrolein. Okay. I guess it depends where you are and how you pronounce it. I think it's the Acrolein. Okay, so anyways, so what's happening? What's happening is that like people are saying that once the e-juice is heated to a certain level, it's going to release this toxic vapor. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of talk, whole bunch of different kinds of speculations and things like that. And I decided to, you know what I mean? I'm a person about the truth and I want to get to the bottom of things. Okay. So certain things over here, you know what I mean? You cannot deny like, what the rumors are going around and, is it real or is it fake, right? And I did a little bit of search, a little bit of digging, and so far nobody has spoken about this on YouTube, and there's not really any videos about it at all. Okay. So we're going to be the first to do it. So how accurate everything is, okay, you're just gonna have to bear with me because this is fairly new to everyone, including myself, all right? And this is so far all the information that I dug up, as well as some other things that I need to mention. So those of you who are just tuning in to us and you guys are new subscribers and stuff like that, let me just get to the main points of all this stuff first, okay? I'm not even too sure exactly how to label this video because of its strange nature, and this is not usually something that we talk about. But I will say that this news has it's basically come at the worst time possible with the whole like us CASA fighting the FDA, free to vape, blah blah blah, all that stuff together. It could not have come at a worse time. Okay, so the acrolein gas over here, some people are saying that like I believe that 1.3 ohms at like 4.2 fully charged will produce acrolein. So if you vape anything hotter than that, then that's what could happen. It's going to release this toxic gas that's going to be like an irritant to the eyes. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about it. Okay, before we do anything else, let's just go ahead and look up exactly what it is. So here it is over here, and then all of its molecular information and things like that. Okay, so what exactly is the production of this thing? Well, acrolein is prepared industrially by oxidization, right? So how does oxidization quickly occur? Well, we apply heat to things. So obviously it's going to cause those chemical reactions, right? Of propene. So propene, has nothing to do with us. No, we're absolutely wrong. If you click on this, okay, it will take you over to like more of what it is. Propene, also known as propylene or methylethylene. Okay, so when we go back over here, right, it's caused by glycerol in the burning fat breakdown into acrylic. Right, so putting two and two together, right, what are we talking about? We're talking about propylene glycol, which is the PG in the e-juice, isn't it? So I haven't exactly had this issue, but like, I'm not a big advocate of it or anything like that, but I feel as if now that I probably should be. A lot of what you don't know is that like, because I don't talk about juice, I just never ever talk about juice. I've only mentioned it a few times that like I purposely use 100% VG, but I never use 100% VG for any health reasons. I use 100% VG for like the builds and tutorials and the wicking and things like that, because if 100% VG is the thickest e-juice, and if that wicks, if that works or whatever, then everything else is going to be okay. That's why I do it, for those purposes. Okay, so let's talk about, like, the Acrolein gas, and when we go ahead on YouTube, right, and then we attempt to look it up, right, not much video about it, nothing really going on, okay, except for this one over here that says, like, Malaysian students hospitalized after inhaling the chemical. So I clicked on that one, and then if you don't mind, let's watch this little short video together, because it's only 49 seconds. Okay, so bear with me and let's watch this one together real quick.
28 students from a school in Kuala Kedah, Malaysia, were admitted to hospital after inhaling acrolein gas. The incident took place during morning assembly. It was reported that a foul smell suddenly appeared, and many students felt dizzy after inhaling it. Acrolein usually exists in liquid form. It can also be formed from burning organic matter, such as tobacco. One of its main uses is as a biocide in irrigation canals. Acrolein is toxic to humans through inhalation or dermal exposure. It is a strong irritant to the skin, eyes, and nasal passages. The school experienced a similar incident last week when 56 students were hospitalized.
Okay, and that's all there is to it. Let's see over here if this is the exact same thing that we were talking about. C3H4O, right? So if you dig up over here, it says molecular formula C3H4O. So this is exactly what's they're talking about. You know what I mean? So this thing, acrolein, is very, very, very real, and it is about heating up propylene glycol, right? So here's a couple of questions, right? Um, Never mind the speculation over here of, like, 1.3 ohms, 4.2. That's something else, right? Do we know exactly how hot our drippers are getting? The coils that we build and things like that. Okay, let's put it this way, right? I personally, the reason why you guys believe the stuff that I say is not exactly just because, like, I'm honest and, like, oh, whatever Peg says, Peg, it goes. It's not that. It's that I'm always pulling up, like, things that makes you question stuff. You know what I mean? I pull up different kind of proofs, different kind of information, all sorts of stuff, and then it's up to us to be, a detective, and through reasoning and deduction, that we're going to come to certain, like, very educated results, right? Okay, so let's do that here. Instead of saying, right, let's think outside the box. Instead of saying exactly how hot does it get, blah blah blah, whatever, inside of all of our drippers or whatever, right? Do you remember there was a lot of reports about, like, if you dry burn nichrome to a certain extent, it will basically melt in your drippers as if it was like solder, right? Okay, so if that is the case, right, why don't we just go on eBay real quick and then just look up nichrome wire. And then over here, maximum operating temperature, 1,100, right? So is that what's happening? Can anybody, like, confirm this or answer this? Does anybody have, like, a heat meter? Because I mean, I don't have it, but, like, I would assume that, like, when we dry burn stuff, right? So, like, the dripper can get up to like 1,000 degrees. Does that sound about right? So 1,000 degrees, is that safe for, like, PVD coating, blah blah blah, like other things as well, right? When we're talking about, like the different coatings of the different kind of caps and stuff like that, whether it's made out of copper or brass, or if there's any lead in the brass, does this release? You know what I mean? We should be questioning, like, all sorts of things like this. At the same time, like I said, it couldn't have come at a worse time, because with, like, the whole FDA thing, I'm sure word of this thing gets out, like, as much as I kind of want to sweep this under the carpet, somebody's gonna tell somebody's gonna tell somebody. People are gonna know either way, right? So we might as well be the first one to talk about this. All right. So, yeah, man, is that how hot it gets inside of the drippers, so that, like, basically that, like, nichrome can melt itself. So definitely with this kind of temperature or whatever we are producing, that Acrolein gas, right? Okay, so if this is the case, right, basically all I can say is that like for now, I pretty much urge you guys to knock it off with the PG. You know what I mean? Try to go with like 100% VG stuff. So for some of you out there, okay, who have no idea where am I going to go get 100% VG stuff? Okay, I did not leave you out in the dark. I have no affiliation with them. I had no time to do this. I did not call them, so there's no buddy buddy or whatever. So I'm not advocating these sites. It's just something that I know off the top of my head. Okay, one is Alice in Vapeland, very nice juices, whatever. I've never done juice reviews. But what I do know is that like anything from Alice in Vapeland, okay, you can leave in the comment section that like please make my juice in 100% VG, and they will go ahead and do that. Okay, same thing with Virgin Vapor over here. All you need to do is like either you go to their 100% organic VG juices, but whatever, or you can always write them an email saying like make my order in 100% VG. Okay, again, I have no affiliations with these people. I'm not doing a commercial for them. It's just, like to help some of you guys who need a quick switch over. You know what I mean? Until you could find like other local vendors and stuff like that. Because most local vendors that I know, they don't really carry the 100% VG stuff. They're usually all like 50/50 juices and stuff. So you're gonna have to go out of your way to order some stuff for some of us. Okay. Right. So I'll leave these two in the description later on. So going back now to talk about like the G-plat wires, right? This one's going to be a very tough subject, okay? I want to show you guys something, right? Basically, the stuff that's going on with Rip Tripper over here. Again, okay, it is not my intention to purposely pick on Rip, whatever. It's just that he's the guy with 110,000 subscribers, okay? He's the guy, he's the front runner. You know what I mean, making all the noise and stuff like that, and a lot of his shit washes up on my shores. You know what I mean? There's so much noise going on over there that it's washing up on my beaches, and because I normally, you know what I mean, I have nothing to do with this stuff. But what I want to show you guys, right, is number one, his video on the G-plat versus Canthal, right? Oh my God, this thing was destroyed. I've never seen Rip with this many thumbs down. Okay, and if you watch like what's going on over here with the 43 replies, big argument, mostly with crass molasses, with just this person saying that like this is bullshit, blah blah blah, whatever, right? But in a way, I kind of understand exactly where crass molasses is coming from. I'm not trying to give a troll a spotlight, okay, because I will say, even if there's some truth to it, this is not the way you go about doing things. But let's talk about this for a second, okay? I was caught in a crossfire of one of these once upon a time during a build, okay? And what was the problem? The problem is that like maybe some of us will like at some point of your life you will come across this where like your education and your better judgment tells you something, while everybody else around you is egging it on like, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you try it? Why don't you do it? Why don't you try it? And it's the struggle is so irritating, okay? Some of you already know the story. I'll just go through that real quick. It was about a build, and Rip does all sorts of builds and stuff. I saw a build and I was like, well, how's this any different? How is build A any different than build B that I give an example? And then everybody was like, why don't you try it? Why don't you try it? Why don't you try it? And my better judgment and my education tells me, you know what I mean, that like it shouldn't be any different. Finally, I broke, I gave in, and then I did the build and there was no different. And I was hideously irritated with myself because of second guessing myself, okay? Now, I feel as if the same thing is happening right here. The whole G-plat thing, right, of like what Rip is doing, the 24 gauge, 22 gauge, 26 gauge Canthal, blah, 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 whatever, okay? You got to understand that the G-plat wires, those things are $20, $30 wires. Like once you buy like, okay, I'll take a little bit of this and I'll take a little bit of that, your check is going to come out to like $45 for like a couple of feet of wire, like right away. Okay, if anything, I'm definitely a bigger advocate of like the Canthal and the Nichrome for like 100 feet for $7, 100 feet for $8 or whatever, because I feel as if like you guys should be tinkering and just playing around with stuff and then just going through Canthal generously. You know what I mean? I can't even remember when was the last time that like I'm even concerned with like, I made a build. Is this build going to last? And then it popped, and then no. There's so many times where like I want to try a new build. I want to do this, and my build was absolutely fine, and I just tore it out of my dripper anyways, and I just put in a new build. uh, I can't even remember the last time you know what I mean. I absolutely needed to rebuild something. If anything, I'm always rebuilding stuff just because the hobby draws me in that direction, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna rip this out. I'm gonna slap some 24 parallels in here. You know what, I'm gonna rip this out and I'm just gonna do like, you know what I mean, some dragon nanos. And right, that's that's what should be going on. And for the sake of the hobby. And 100 feet, $7 makes sense to go ahead and do that. But then you're not going to do that with us. You're going to be like so careful. I'm going to make one, you know what I mean? I'm going to do one build on this thing, blah, whatever, and then like I hope it lasts for like a month or something, because that one build costs a lot of money. And um, for a lot of people, right? For some people, they're saying things like, well, why don't you just go ahead and buy it? Why don't you just go ahead and buy it? Why don't you just like save up on like like not eat lunch twice? It's nonsense. Okay, because nothing is going to irritate you even fucking further than if you went ahead and spent $30-$40 just to find out that like, yeah, it is Nichrome. God damn it, when they were talking about like, oh, these wires are softer, blah, 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 things like that. But then, uh, a lot of like metal and stuff like that, you could just go through like an annealing process. You know what I mean? I did a little search on it. If you really wanted to, right, you could just go ahead and at any time type it, how to soften metal, right? And then there's tons of information on hardening and softening metal, and like how to go ahead and do it so that like, you know, um, wires can wrap and be softer. You know what I mean? Um, the argument that's going back and forth with like, stop blowing, you know what I mean? They're blowing smoke. They're not. They're back and forth. Really, uh, for all of us over here, okay, for all of us in safe in our country, that we all get along, because we do things scientifically. We pull up charts, we go to Wikipedia, we gather information from other fields, and then through deduction we make educated decisions. But because that's what goes on this channel over here, right? And that's why we don't troll, we don't fight, we don't like, but again, I'm saying like there's so much noise over there, right? That like, the moment of talking about G-Plat over here, a ripoff brought to you by Rip himself, his crap is washing up on my shores. You know what I mean? I absolutely don't blame uh, how do you pronounce it? CHSA Das. I don't blame him for making like known or whatever, because like, I've said before, right? It is one thing to drag somebody out into the light and then tear them a new one, and that's not right, okay? But it is another thing to just be like, hey, that's a lie. That's just, you know what I mean? That's two different things. A gentleman would make his case. You know what I mean? I put my feelings. This is my case. I made my case, and then that's it. I'm not gonna like cry about it for days, and I'm not going to like claim I don't care, but like I can't stop talking about it. You know what I mean? So, uh, oh, I need to point out something else, right? This one was really weird. Have you guys ever noticed this? There are 40 thumbs up to Rip over here, and he didn't even say anything. Like there's nothing going on over here, and I kind of wanted to show you guys this. When a YouTuber goes ahead and like uploads a video or something like that, right? If you don't uncheck like these boxes or whatever, and then you just leave this message blank, right? Then what happens is that it will just go ahead and post a blank message for you. So I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. And right, this is how many fanboys are on the page, that like if you say anything like, you know, like sacrilegious towards Rip or whatever, they will jump on you and they will destroy you. So you know what I mean? You don't want to do that. Because there's 40 thumbs up for him saying nothing. Um, anyways, so yeah, even Ruby Roo is on the wagon on this. G-Plat wires will also last much longer. Blah, blah, blah. If you read this whole like argument and fight or whatever, it goes forwards, it goes backwards, it goes forwards, and it goes backwards. And I totally understand, like, you know, where both sides are coming from. You know what I mean? Some people truly believe that there's a difference, and some people see that there isn't. Because in the past, there was a lot of gimmicks, like what I said before about like a Pacaro wire. You know what I mean? There's all sorts of different kinds of things regarding batteries as well, like the Orbtronic that I said. That basically what Orbtronic company does is that like they repackage Panasonic batteries and then they sell it for more expensive. And if you buy into it, you buy into it. You don't, you don't. You know what I mean? Um, so for some of you guys who really want to see like my perspective, my take on the G-Plat wires, here we go. Okay. Although I don't have any samples of the G-Plat wires, because part of me feels it's like I'll be damned if I go ahead and, you know what I mean, pay $40 for different samples of the G-Plat and then like test them out and then, you know, come back and talk about it or whatever, just to find out that like it's just like Canthal. You know what I mean? I want to show you something else very interesting over on the Ruby Roo channel. Okay, she talks about like the G-Plat stuff and whatever in her latest tugboat RDA over here. Okay, and give me. I'm just gonna pause this real quick. Okay. We're not going to show the video. Okay, if you want to see the video, you just look up Ruby Roo and the tugboat video. The thing is that, like, did you notice that all the wires that they're working with is like 24 gauge Canthal, 22 gauge Canthal, 26? These are really hot Canthals. Okay, and in my opinion, is that once you get up to that really hot gauge, once you're building things down like lower than 0.2, how do you know the difference? You know what I mean? All you're gonna get is a very hot, very uncomfortable vape. Only for that smaller group of people who are cloud chasing all day long, and this is how they vape. That is their lifestyle. Okay, for the average vapor. Okay, it's just going to end up as an uncomfortable vape. And if you go ahead and watch Ruby Roo's video on the tugboat, she ends up building something 0.14. Okay, and then she takes a couple of puffs on it, and she was very uncomfortable at the end. And I watched it, and I was just like, yeah, I know. You know, like you kind of knew that this was gonna happen. And I don't see people spending their money in order to do that. You get what I'm saying? You spend $40 for a couple of feet of wire just so that you can end up building an uncomfortable vape. Does that make any sense? So with that, and then the Acrolein gas, and you know, when you build things that are too hot and then it's burning, and then with the PG, blah, blah, blah. Of course, we could avoid that now by, you know, just sticking with like 100% VG juices. But still, guys, I mean, this is really like something to think about. You know what I mean? So I'd love to know what you guys thought about all of this. You know what I mean? Please leave your comments below, because the, there's just so much drama over this nonsense, and everything's happening at a really bad time. Because if you go over here, I wanted to point out something else, right? That like it was very nice. I don't know who this was, but it says like, you know, this is the guy who I think gives real info, and this is a link to one of the videos on my channel. And you know, um, I asked for this link from one of our new family members, Ben. Ben, welcome to family. And I got very curious about like exactly where this link from Reddit came from. So because he sent me part of it, and then I wanted to see like where the root of it came from. And it came from uh, a title called "Rip Trippers: The Snake Oil Salesman." Wow, that is brutal. That is really brutal. Okay, guys, well, it is what it is. Okay, if that's what people think, that's what people think. But we're not going to go ahead and make a big fuss of it. Okay, so you know, uh, what you wrote over here. Okay, a ripoff brought to you by Rip himself. I see it. uh, I'm gonna allow that comment, but like, let's not step any further than that, okay? Because you know what I mean. Then you just go from making a point to being mean. You know what I mean, and that's not what we're about, okay? So, uh, right. Basically, this is what I wanted to point out to you guys, and if possible, let's all do a little bit more research about it. Let's discuss more about like this Acrolein stuff, because the whole point of us switching from analogs to e-cigs is for that that healthier life, right? So let's not let certain chemicals or certain vaping lifestyles or whatever get in our way to make something that like you know what I mean, that we finally found that works for us like unhealthy again. You know what I mean? So yeah, all your comments really matter, because exactly like how Don shared something, I go research something, we bring it back, we talk about it, we expand on it, and we could all learn something more, and then we could all better ourselves. Okay, so until next time, see you again soon. Bye.